For the second year in a row, a Korean book has been shortlisted for the prestigious literary prize, the International Booker Prize. On April 18th, it was announced that Whale by Cheon Myeung-kwan has made the final shortlist of 6 works along with the translator Kim Ji-young. Kim is a highly regarded literary translator who has helped bring seminal Korean books to an international audience, such as the bestseller Please Look After Mum by Shin Kyung-sook and The Hen Who Dreamed She Could Fly by Hwang Seon-mi. I'm delighted to say now that she joins us via video call for this week's Touch Base in Seoul. Ms. Kim, hello, and thank you for being on the show today.
Hi, thank you for having me.
First off, a huge congratulations for making it onto the shortlist of the prestigious prize. How does it feel? Has it sunk in yet?
Thank you. No, not really. It's a huge honor to be nominated for the International Booker Prize, especially alongside such amazing authors and translators. So it's kind of been a shock.
Did you know that you were up for consideration, that this work was up for consideration, that it would be longlisted earlier this year?
No, I mean, I found out just as everybody else found out.
So it sounds like it would have been a pleasant surprise. What about for the author himself? I know this book, it was first published almost 19 years ago now, right, in Korea?
Yes, that's true. And I think he's, the conversations I've had with him, he's also surprised and thrilled.
Okay, so tell us a bit more about the work itself. Whale by Cheon Myeung-kwan. It's quite a unique work, a unique story centered around 3 women. One, an ambitious woman who's been chasing after thrills after she saw a whale in the ocean, and then her mute daughter who communicates with elephants, and a one-eyed woman who controls honeybees. What more can you tell us about this work?
I mean, this work is really kind of spectacular in that it's sweeping, it follows these women. There are so many different interesting kind of wild characters throughout. And it's also really funny. It's funny, it has a sly sort of satirical side to it. And I think it's really interesting how it kind of, talks about modern Korean society and modern history in a really interesting, sort of fantastical way.
Mm. As we said, originally published in 2004, when did you first discover the book and how did you get the chance to actually translate it as well?
I discovered it as a reader. So soon after it was published in Korea, I read it. I loved it. It sort of kind of, the funniness of it, the sort of weird different characters in it, it really was compelling to me. And then about, 4 or 5 years ago, the publisher of Archipelago Books, which is the publisher of the American edition, contacted me and asked if I was interested. And of course I said yes, because it is one of my favorite books. And fun fact, I used to work at Archipelago Books many years ago, right after college. So, the publisher and I had always talked about working together on another project. And this kind of fell into our laps and it was a great fit. So it was an easy decision.
I read on the Booker Prize website that you never reached out to the author himself while translating the work, and that you could sit here saying you literally had 0 questions for him. Does that mean it was an easy work to translate?
Yeah, I mean, I think, like I had said in other places, there's something about the cadence of the book and the writing style itself that reminded me a lot of the stories I heard and read growing up. So when I started translating, it just sort of flowed out of me. And it's a big book, as you know, so it wasn't like, super simple to do or anything like that, but it really did feel like kind of like home. It felt very natural. So I really didn't have any questions for the author. He just writes so well. So his writing is so propulsive and kind of the way I translated it really mimicked how I read it. So it really kind of poured out of me.
Well, it sounds like the book met the right translator, that it was a perfect fit as such. Can we also talk about how you got into translation in the first place? You mentioned how you worked for a published company before, but then you became a lawyer as well, right? And at the same
Yeah.
time, you've been doing a literary translation.
Yes. So I grew up kind of moving between North America and Korea. So I've always sort of translated, you know, gone between different cultures and languages constantly. So that was kind of a natural thing that I did growing up. I also loved books ever since I was very young. And my mother's also a translator, so I sort of got to see what a translator's life looked like
Right.
very close up. So I think by the time I was out of college and working at the publishing company I mentioned, it was just, why don't I try translating too? So that's kind of how I started. And through different day jobs I've had, I've just kept translating, and it's been 20 years now.
What was it about translation that appealed to you? Because I imagine it must be very tough at times as well. It would, for me, it would just look very daunting to translate a whole book.
Yeah, I think it's just, I think I really enjoy being in that kind of liminal space where you're sort of thinking in one language and culture and conveying it in another. That sort of challenge is really interesting to me, and I really love doing that.
Well, Whale is the latest in a string of extraordinary Korean books that you have translated. I mentioned Please Look After Mum and The Hen Who Dreamed She Could Fly earlier. You also translated The Old Woman and the Knife by Koo Byung-mo and The Investigation by Lee Jang-myung, just to name a couple more. We've talked about many of these books on our show as well for a segment we call Korea Book Club. And last year's shortlisted translator for the Booker Prize, for the International Booker Prize, Anton Her, he recently described you on social media as a legend among Korean translators, and that that this recognition was long overdue. I'm not sure if you saw that. What was your reaction to that?
I mean, this is the first time I'm hearing about it, but that's very kind of him to say that. I mean, he's also an amazing translator, and I've been following his work over the last several years, and I'm a big fan.
This is also the second year in a row that Korean books have been shortlisted for the International Booker Prize after, as we said, Anton Her and the book Cursed Bunny by Bora Chung last year. It's the fourth overall, of course. Hangang's The Vegetarian, translated by Deborah Smith, won the prize in 2016. Do you think appreciation for Korean literature is growing, especially in recent years? How do you think it's changed during your time as a literary translator?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think there is more awareness and appreciation of Korean literature, especially in the US. And I think it's thanks to all the wonderful Korean to English translators out there. There are more and more of us every day, and there's nothing better than seeing additional names, additional books. The more literature we can produce for English language audiences, the better. So it's just, I'm looking forward to what other amazing works these translators bring.
Do you think there's something particularly special about Korean literature that you would perhaps appeal to people to explain to them if there's something unique about Korean literature? What would it be?
I think Korean literature is like all other literatures in that they're all about human stories. Um, and it's one glimpse into how a Korean author might be imagining their world. And so, as you know, there are so many different genres and styles of Korean literature and Korean authors. And I think any English reader who picks up any Korean book will be able to get a tiny glimpse of exciting stuff happening in Korean literature today.
Well, it's definitely exciting to have another Korean work up for contention for the prize, especially one translated by such a respected figure in the industry in yourself. We'll have to wrap it up there for today. We've been speaking to the International Booker-nominated translator Kim Ji-young. Congratulations once again, and we'll be sending you all of our best wishes for when the final winner is announced on May 23rd. Thank you, and good luck once again.
Thank you so much.